Okay, here we are at Fort Circle Park, kind of. This is near Fort Totten. There was some kind of fort here. Fort Lincoln is way over there. And as we look south in the southwest, we can see way back in the hills over here, that's Fort Totten over there. And Fort Totten Metro is just beyond those woods over there. And this piece on the east side of Fort Totten, it's a big piece of grass area. It just has a big sign that says Fort Circle Park, but there's not a Fort Circle on the civil defense maps that I found, and there's a different Fort Circle. So I'm going to investigate these woods over here. Looks like some kind of maybe earthworks left behind. So let's check it out. Okay, so we've come upon the woods clearing. You can see these little earthworks coming up there. And that's usually the sign of a fort in DC. It's just some earthworks and some trees and stuff. So I'm going to go inside and check it out and see if I can't see any kind of earthworks or construction left behind. All right, let's move in. It's kind of like Fort Totten. There's just some earthworks left behind. Looks like it's just used as a woods for transients and kids partying, of course. There's like a flat area here. A lot of times these forts, or these areas that are connected to the forts, were used as, camping areas for men, for horses and whatnot. But you can see that a lot of these trees are really old, 50 to 100 years old. They weren't developed in the 1930s. This whole place was developed. Just remains a little thicket. Yeah, it's got a lot of old trees and a grassy area to it. And it's on a hill. I can see over on the edges there that it goes down like that. So I'm up on a kind of hill, a promontory. You can see that's the grassy field I was just in. Fort Totten is over there, so I came up this hill. So we're on this big kind of hill area, and it was probably in this direction they were worried about, towards Maryland. So as further east I go, it gets very brambly. It's almost to the end. I'm going to try to check out the end, but it looks like it's just a bunch of brambles, a little woods place. Mostly just a bunch of transients and booze addicts coming here to drink their booze and throw their bottle down, of course. And eventually, I walked all the way through. A lot of brambles, trees, just a wood copse, as they would say. And then eventually it gives out some kind of clearing. I think this might be private property. Let me check. No, this is part of the The fort grass goes all the way to that street over there. That's looking up into Maryland, towards the East Anacostia River that way. So they're probably pointed in this direction. Like I said, they could have used these grounds as, you know, camping on and for their horses and whatnot. These trees are all in a line and they're very old, so could be a border line, could be where a lane used to be. Same thing over there. Usually plant trees by the sides of the roads and lanes or the borders. This was farmland all the way into the 1930s. Anyways, it's east towards the Anacostia River in the Maryland. Fort Circle Park, DC, just east of Fort Totten. Okay, so there's the Fort Circle Park. You can see it's up on a ridge up there. That's what we were just in. We're looking west, and there's a big field, some more woods over here, and then right over there is the borderline into Maryland. And that's why they were probably here. Keep an eye on this avenue in case any insurrectionists had any ideas to come into DC. Okay, Fort Circle Parks. There's the woods we were just in over there. Fort Totten's over there about a mile. And another patch of woods right there. And they could have used this green area for horses and whatnot. You never know. And then, because I don't see any name of any fort on this location, any specific name. We got Fort Totten over there, and I got Fort Lincoln to my left. And then across Sargent, there's also some green area over here, right there, part of the Fort Circle Park. So a big swath of green looking towards Maryland that way. Now we're looking back towards Fort Totten and west. Okay, Fort Circle Park. There's a good view of skyline. And just on those hills over there is Fort Totten. Up in them lower hills. And this is probably like a satellite area. Who knows, of housing the men and whatnot. Okay, so I'm near Fort Totten. I'm coming from the north, and I'm almost there, and I think I'm finding some outer ring defenses. It's either an old, definitely man-made, because I can see all the rocks. So it looks like the part of the first defenses of Fort Totten. It's in these woods about a quarter-mile away. I'm gonna work my way up and try to find a gate. Okay, so Fort Totten, outer ring defenses. You see here's a ditch right below, and it comes out to another embankment right there. The earthworks pretty clearly right there, and of course the reason why they chose this spot, it's on a big hill, and militarily you always want the highest ground, especially in 1860. Okay, so Fort Totten, outer defenses. You can see there's the inside of the fort, and then there's the embankment comes up and walking along the side here. And you can easily tell in this area, you can see the rocks that the soldiers used to build up the earthworks. So I'm standing on the top of the embankment, looking out. Okay, Fort Totten to the north side. It's just a series of embankments and woods, and then you follow along and there'll be a path that follows the ridge line. You just walk along, eventually you get to it. Just a bunch of woods you can hike around in. So eventually you make your way down these paths. Here's the inner part of the fort. The bank comes down in there. This is the inner part of Fort Totten. And eventually, as you make your way down the ridge, you'll gain a path and you'll see it. Big hill right there that goes up that path, and that's the start of the proper Fort Totten, I do believe. Let's check it out. Yeah, so eventually you'll come out of the woods of the north section, and you see the clearing, and then the copse right across that field is the proper Fort Totten, the real Fort Totten, back in those woods across over there. We're going to go check out the eastern section, northeastern section over here. So eventually work your way along the path this way. There's Fort Totten over here, and you can see why they chose it. It's on a big hill, and you can see the old soldiers' home right over there in the hills over in there. But we're gonna go this direction over here and check out the northeastern part of Fort Totten. And so the trails kind of wind up and around, and you can see them walking on the embankment, and then there's these ditches, and I think these are the rifle pits, because the fort is not way over there on the other side of that clearing over here. So these must be the initial rifle pits. Alright, so that's Fort Totten 2. I just sweep around the northeastern part. A bunch of little trails back there you can go on. And there's a big picnic area right now, you know, towards DC. So I'll be visiting the other forts in DC, so follow my channel. Thanks.